time in 24 hours, United States President Donald Trump has ramped up his tariff tirade against India, accusing India of not being a good trading partner. Donald Trump is now announcing that he will raise the tariffs very substantially because India is buying Russian oil. Now, once again, he's accusing India of fueling the war machine. In fact, President Donald Trump also says that tariffs on pharmaceuticals imported into the United States could eventually reach up to 250%, the highest rate he has threatened so far. Now, Trump's unhinged tirade has drawn a warning from fellow Republican Nikki Haley, the former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. She's criticizing the Trump administration for its double standards. Now, Haley has gone on to say that China, which is an adversary and the #1 buyer of Russian and Iranian oil, got a 90-day tariff pause, and also is cautioning Donald Trump not to burn relations with a strong ally like India. Now, earlier, India too had pointed out similar double standards, and India also said that both the United States and the EU are continuing their trade relations with Russia. India has given it back in equal measure. In its long statement till date, the Modi government has called out Trump's intimidation tactics without sounding brash. The Ministry of External Affairs basically told the United States to take a look within. Now, that was the statement. Let's tell you about more details of the statement. Take a look at point number 6 from the MEA statement, which has referred to India as a major economy, clearly aimed at Trump, who had called India's economy dead. Now, by defending its oil trade and attacking the United States and the EU, India is telling the entire world, stop lecturing us. And this is an India which will not be intimidated, and this kind of browbeating will not work with us.
This is new India, and we are not going to take pressures, or we are not going to take threat from anyone. And our External Affairs Minister has given a befitting reply to United States and Mr. Donald Trump.
So, on being asked about imposing 100% tariffs on all countries that purchase Russian energy, including China, US President Donald Trump says, and I quote, "I never said a percentage, but we'll be doing quite a bit of that. We'll see what happens." So this is what Donald Trump has said. He also added that there's going to be a meeting with Russia, and everything will happen after this particular meeting.
Do you still plan to follow through on your threat to impose 100% tariffs on all countries that purchase Russian energy, including China?
Well, I never said a percentage, but we'll be doing quite a bit of that. We'll see what happens over the next fairly short period of time, but we'll see what happens. Yep. You know, they have a meeting tomorrow. We have a meeting with Russia tomorrow. We're going to see what happens. We'll make that determination at that time.
So Donald Trump is escalating his tariff tirade. He's making one statement after another. His own are calling him out and are also, cautioning him and are telling him that India has been a strong ally. Let's not burn bridges with India. You saw the latest statement of Donald Trump, Rishabh. What's expected? Donald Trump saying that tariffs will be substantially, increased. India is now staring back. We will not allow any kind of bullying to go on. India has said it very clearly that those countries which have no, compulsion to trade with Russia, even they are trading with Russia. So why is it that India is being targeted in an unreasonable manner?
If we talk about Donald Trump is misinformed. He doesn't know that how his own country is trading with Russia while he is accusing India of doing so. And India, in its statement day before yesterday, very categorically shows that how US, EU, all these countries who have been accusing India of quote-unquote funding Russia's war has been doing so, and much more than India has done since 2022. Apart from that, if we talk about why are his own allies, Trump's own allies within United States are talking against, burning bridges with India. See, the point is very clear that the more the tariff will be on goods, the more things will be expensive in US. A T-shirt that is, made, a shirt, a garment that is made in India or made in Bangladesh would cost around $6 to $7 at max before these tariff wars, is now costing around $11 in United States, given that people feel that there is a lot is to be discussed and there is uncertainty in market, and hence they are trying to ensure that we do not go from 6 to 18 at once, and hence they are slowly already started doing that. Apart from that, if we talk about why is this whole MAGA business going after India, one thing is very clear, that Donald Trump has been advised against India, and Donald Trump, without going into the merits of those advice, have taken that. This is what the experts suggest. Many within the government of India believe that it is that Donald Trump has been taught a different lesson about Afghanistan, about Iran, and how Pakistan could be the game changer for them.
Right.
And that's the reason that this time around, he is going after India.
Yes.
After that famous.
And that is why, Rishabh, many believe that this is nothing but a classic case of the hypocrisy of the West. Why hypocrisy? Let's once again decode the statement and substantiate it with the stand that US had taken. So India, viewers, has made it clear that when the conflict had broken out between Russia and Ukraine, it was the United States which had very strongly encouraged imports from Russia, because it didn't want global supply chains to be disrupted very strongly. So what happened? Why is it that we are saying that US wanted it? US helped these imports, you even negotiated, and now it is talking about punishing India for its trade with Russia. Let's take you through those statements. It was earlier when in 2022, when US's Treasury Secretary, that is Janet Yellen, had said that India can buy as much as Russian oil as it wants. This was in the year 2022. Then the US official had also said that can also purchase oil at any price that India wants. So when you are encouraging buy oil from Russia, this was the stand taken in 2022. Then in 2024, it was the US's Assistant Secretary of State, that is Jeffrey Pratt, who had said India's purchases in fact helped. So India helped stabilize the global energy markets. This is what US had said about Indian imports from Russia. So this was the statement made back in February 2024. So India's purchase helped it stabilize markets by buying Russian crude. So this was another stand taken by the United States in February 2024. After that, let's come to March 2024. It is Amos Hochstein, who was Joe Biden's energy advisor. He had said that US helping India negotiate cheaper Russian oil. So India then also was helped by the US. US also played a role in the negotiations of buying cheaper oil, and the statement that was made was that I think India understands what we are trying to do. So here, that this purchase and this trade was in fact encouraged by the United States of America. Now let's also go across to what Eric Garcetti had said in May 2024, the former US ambassador to India, that India bought Russian oil because we wanted them to do so. This is the United States in 2024 saying that India bought Russian oil because the United States itself wanted them to do so. Let's listen into what Eric Garcetti had said about this entire matter of India buying Russian oil.
And we take the smaller victories, like actually they bought Russian oil because we wanted somebody to buy Russian oil at a price cap. That was not a violation or anything. It was actually the design of the policy, because as a commodity, we didn't want oil prices going up, and they fulfilled that. During G20, they were able to take Russia to the side and say, take or leave this statement, which was critical about Ukraine. It just took the word Russia out, but it was very clear. And we were able to deliver Europe. They were able to deliver Russia. That boxed in China, and it showed, again, this multiplicative relationship when we get together. So it's complicated, it needs to know history, you need to come in not in a kind of condescending way, but I think once you do that, it's a very loyal relationship. And I would say the people-to-people stuff, given that everybody who's in power there has family, has studied, has served in the United States by and large, it's a real soft or smart power advantage.
So not just his own aides, there are many prominent voices from the American society who are urging the United States' president to take a rational stand vis-a-vis India. It is singer Mary Milburn who has now waded in. She also is urging Donald Trump to negotiate with India as a real friend. I'm going to take you through the details of what she has said, and this is what she posted on social media. Mary Milburn says, I'll say this again, America needs India and India needs America. Any direction in policy that strains our strategic alliance is the wrong direction. POTUS and Narendra Modi, my beloved leaders, this exchange of muscular verbiage on tariffs is troubling us all. Furthermore, countless small businesses in the United States and in India are hurting in this tariff tug-of-war. I speak to them daily. Remember, we need each other. Negotiate as real friends. Find a common ground. Your legacies and the well-being of our countries depend on this moment. So here, more voices from the US where an urge of sorts is being made, where Donald Trump is being asked to negotiate with India as a real friend. Now, Russia. What does Russia stand on this entire issue? We'll tell our viewers about how Russia has called these sanctions and restrictions an outcome of United States' ability to come to terms with the loss of hegemony in the emerging world order, the erosion of its dominance in the emerging multipolar international order. Now, this is the stand that Russia has taken. Now, it is obvious that this new India is making the United States uncomfortable. But what is making the Indian opposition so uncomfortable? So Russia has taken a position, India has hit back, India is staring back, is showing how US itself at this point of time is trading with Russia when it wants to punish India for the same, at a time when it was the United States itself which had encouraged India to import from Russia. Now, how is the opposition in the country behaving? If you were to look at the reactions, you would think that India's foreign policy has completely collapsed if you only go by the narrative that the opposition is trying to peddle. However, there are also voices within the opposition ranks who are now agreeing that the stand taken by the government is the right stand.
दोस्त न रहा ट्रम्प यार हमें तेरा एतबार न रहा इतने साल से आप दावा कर रहे हैं कि राष्ट्रपति ट्रम्प के साथ आपका एक विशेष रिश्ता है ये दोस्ती बहुत कीमती निकली ना
Decision we take must be slowly based on our national interests. We shouldn't get bullied or distracted by impulsive proclamations of other heads of states.
क्या जवाब दिया? सेक्रेटरी जवाब देगा. प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ अमेरिका के जवाब सेक्रेटरी देगा. हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर को जवाब देना चाहिए और मजबूती से जवाब देना चाहिए. पूरा देश प्रधानमंत्री के साथ खड़ा है. आप दीजिए जवाब मजबूती के साथ.
It is extremely unfortunate that such vile language is being used by the president of the most powerful nation in the world.
अमेरिका के राष्ट्रपति लगातार भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार को और लगातार जो फैसले ले रही है अमेरिका उससे हमारा व्यापार संकट में होगा. ये विदेश नीति कहाँ कहीं विदेश घूमने तो नहीं गई है हमारी.
खुद यूएस के जो ट्रेड है रशिया के साथ लगातार जारी है. यूरोपियन यूनियन का ट्रेड है लगातार जारी है. चाइना का ट्रेड है लगातार जारी है. तो सिर्फ इंडिया पे ये दोष देना ये कहाँ तक लाजमी है.
Amid all the politics around tariff and the tariff threats, there's another story emerging from the United States of America. This time, it's the unpredictable Donald Trump who's suggesting that Vice President J.D. Vance is most likely his heir apparent to serve as the Republican nominee in 2028. Now remember, this is the farthest he has gone in backing J.D. Vance as the future presidential candidate. What does this hint mean? And at a time when, there is a lot of criticism, a lot of conversation around Donald Trump's policies, his, tariff tirade, comes this comment where Donald Trump has gone, possibly the first time dropped a big hint of this sort, where he's suggesting that J.D. Vance is most likely his heir apparent to serve as the Republican nominee in the year 2028. How are you looking at this development, Rishabh?
Pardon my analogy, but a person who is more unpredictable than my pet cat is predicting his, heir apparent is something that is very, very interesting. He's saying this today. I'm not sure whether he will abide by this next month. Someone who has fired people left, right, center since he has come to power and has even had a tiff with his best friend, so-called best friend, Elon Musk, over a small rookie, disagreements between the two. And right now, when we have still 3.5 years left for the next U.S. election, someone like Donald Trump going ahead and saying that, J.D. Vance could be his heir apparent is something which is very far-fetched. Depends how things are. And remember, this is the last tenure of Donald Trump. By the end of his tenure, how much of Republican support he will have is also a $1 million question, and all depends on what 2008 US will look like. The way tariff war is going on, the economy doesn't look very, blooming from here on, and a not so blooming economy won't give a Republican a chance to nominate a heir apparent for that matter.
All right. Thank you, Rishabh, for analyzing that situation and getting us up to speed with all the latest developments. Viewers, it's time now for us to take a short commercial break. Stay with us.